is a different government.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is Premier Chess Adult Beginner Summer 2021 session, and this is week 8. And we're going to look at a couple correspondence games between Adam and Richard. And if we have time, I got another one against Adam. He's so popular. So yeah, let's see here. So this is white is Adam and black is Richard. So since Richard sent it to me, I will view it from Richard's perspective. So Richard is black. All right, so let's see how this game went on. So d4, d5, okay. Knight f3, knight f6, okay. Starting very symmetrical. e6, sorry, e3, c5. Good. So yeah, that's a pretty good move. c5, kind of challenging the white center. Very good. Bishop e2, knight c6, very good. Towards the center, I would do the same. All right, and then castle, bishop f5, very good. So yeah, so here, the next expected move would be e6, and then maybe develop the bishop and castle. And so e6 would kind of block in this bishop. So this is a good move. I like this move a lot. It's kind of like a London system type setup with the bishop outside of the pawn chain, having control of the nice diagonal, h7 to b1 diagonal. So very nice before closing the pawn chain. Yeah, here's a light squared pawn chain. So very good. All right. So now here, here black's bishop on c1 is kind of having a difficulty in getting active. So maybe he wants to either come to b2, or another possible way to trade away is to come all the way into a3 and then try to trade it away for this bishop. So that's another possibility. So bishop d6. All right. So bishop b2. Yeah. So I'm just curious, what does the computer recommend for white? Let's see. Okay. So the computer recommends. All right. So D takes C5. So why do you think D takes C5? It recommends that. Anybody can tell me why?
Makes the bishop move twice in the opening.
Okay, that's one reason. I don't think that's the main reason. But what's another reason? Why does the computer want you to take here? Even though you're kind of giving away a center pawn. So you have no, white has one less center pawn here. But why would it want you to do that?
Well, then the bishop, the black square bishop has that diagonal.
Yeah. So now look, the diagonal's open, right? So now this is a beautiful diagonal for the bishop to be on, and it's not impeded by any pawn, any white pawn on d4, right? So very nice. So it's kind of preparatory move, right? Very nice. So okay, so because now, I mean now it's not that bad still. So even if black tries to close up the diagonal, white can still keep it open by something like this. And if he takes again, you just take with the bishop, and now the diagonal is still open. So it's still possible to open it up, but that's just another way of doing it. How you doing, Monty?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Oh, yeah. No, I was talking to the other Monty. There's two Monties. I got to specify Monty E, and Monty B.
Monty B, I'd like to meet you one day.
Likewise.
I know, you don't meet too many Monties. It's me, right? In the same class. All right.
Very few of us.
Yeah. It's not I guess it's not a popular, millennial name nowadays, right? So bishop, so bishop b2, good. Trying to activate the bishop. Again, another possibility is bring the bishop. I'm just curious, what the computer thinks about bishop here. Let's see. All right, so computer it's still kind of equality. So yeah, bishop a3 is still a good move, putting pressure on the c pawn and possibly trading away with this bishop. So that's also a good move. All right, so let's continue. So, all right, a6. I mean, all right, that's fine. I would just castle, take the moment just to castle, get your king to safety as soon as possible, since the white king is already castled and safe. So, but okay, a6. Okay, so now white's beginning to move forward. Knight e5. All right, queen c7. Okay. By the way, real quick, why is taking here with the knight bad idea? Anybody can tell me?
Because the pawn on E would fork the two minor pieces.
Yeah, very good. Pawn.
Oh no,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Pawn takes back, yeah, and the pawn is protected by the bishop. So there's a fork here, and black will lose a piece, unfortunately. So that wouldn't be good. And you would not probably want to take the knight with the bishop, because most of the time you want to hold on to your bishops as much as possible because they're so long range and useful. So yeah. So queen c7 is good. Okay, f4. Okay, so yeah, for some reason, Richard is not wanting to castle. Any reason, Richard, why you were...
You know, I don't know. I find myself holding off on castling for probably too long. Sometimes I think, well, I don't want to do it on a queen side or king side. In this case, it's pretty obvious I'd want to do it on king side. So
right.
I don't have a good answer, and it gets me into trouble.
Yeah, I think I noticed that with a lot of beginners, they get very excited about, enthusiastic about attacking, right? Everybody likes attacking. And in doing so, you kind of neglect your own king's safety. Sometimes you open up the position and your king becomes endangered, right? So
yeah, there are a couple of other games I'm playing where this same problem haunted me. So
yeah. So, take a move and get your king to safety and then proceed with the attack. I mean, very rarely do I see opportunities to go after something and I don't castle, but most of the time I usually castle. Or, the saying by Alexander Alekin, who is the 4th world champion, he says castle early and castle often. So good advice to go by. All right, so let's see, knight b4, c3. Ooh, so can anybody tell me why that is a mistake? What do you guys think? It's a blunder.
Blocks your dark squared bishop.
Not really a reason to give it 2 question marks, though. That's true too. Now this bishop has even less scope. Yeah, but why else would this be a bad move? What do you think?
Knight to c2 would attack the rook, and the bishop's protecting the knight, so the queen can't take it.
Yeah, so knight c2 is attacking the rook, and what is it also attacking?
The pawn on e3.
Yeah, e3 pawn is unprotected, right? So very nice little fork. So forking the rook and the pawn. And if he's able to take the pawn, then that will result in yet another fork, queen and rook, right? So this knight is becoming annoying, definitely. So let's see. So knight.
But so what would the alternative have been? Because I mean, even the pawn staying there wouldn't have resolved that problem.
Yeah. So okay, so definitely black is coming down hard on c2. So there's, let's see, you could have gone maybe like this, bishop here, right? Interpose the bishop, and if he takes, you just maybe take with the knight, or why? Yeah, actually, even if you took with the pawn, you still don't lose it after you take this pawn, because white takes back with tempo, meaning attacking the knight, and so yeah, still black can't take the pawn just yet. So all right, so let's go back. So yeah, maybe bishop there or knight back, perhaps even could you do that? Let's see what the computer recommends here. All right, computer recommends bishop to d3. Yeah, blocking. So rook to c1 doesn't work. Why?
Then the knight takes the pawn on a2.
Yeah, exactly. So this pawn is not protected. So now he goes knight takes, picks up a pawn here. So the rook gets annoyed, coming back and forth. So yeah, so that doesn't resolve it. It doesn't help anything. So yeah, bishop d3 or knight d3 would have held things there. Okay, so let's go on. So c3. So Richard was knight c2. Rook c1, knight takes, very good. Forking queen and rook. Queen moves over. Okay, so now Richard is up the exchange. Everybody knows what that means, right? Up the exchange? No? Okay. Okay, so for those who don't, what does that mean? Oh, and I say up the exchange.
Rook is worth 5 points, so he got a rook from the other minor piece, which is worth 3 points.
Right. So minor pieces are the bishops and knights. Major pieces are the queen and rooks, right? So the rooks are worth 5. So roughly the rook is worth like 2 minor pieces and a pawn. Well, rook and a pawn is worth 2 minor pieces, right? 6 points to 6 points. But if somebody captures a rook with, you know, just a bishop or just a knight, then you would be up the exchange, right? So here, white is down the exchange. Okay, so here knight. Yeah, so even here, like Richard's not afraid at all. You know, he's keeping his king here so long. Kind of interesting. He is fearless. It's a fearless king. All right, knight e4. All right, so immediately attacking this. So now Richard's winning by material. So now, you know, once you're winning by material, it's a good idea just to exchange down as much as possible, right? Because the more you exchange, the easier it will be to realize the victory, right? The less counterplay your opponent will have. So yeah. So here, so given that, I would say that Adam, your best move would not be to capture, maybe to try to keep pieces on the board as much as possible, something like that. Right, so you want to not trade down when you are down material as much as possible. All right, so knight e4, so he takes, bishop takes. Okay, so now Adam is trying to open up the C file, it appears. All right, so Richard closes it down. Okay, well, so Richard, it seems like you're just not afraid with your king in the center, right?
No worries.
Your king felt really safe. Your king felt really safe there. It's almost like a taunt. I don't even have to castle to beat you. Wow. So yeah, king is still there, hanging out. So okay, so now the queen side is all locked up, and now maybe the focus is going to go onto the king and the queen side, and the king and the center. All right, so now he castles. He could have also just picked up this pawn, forking the rook and capturing the h2 pawn in this next move as well. But he chose to castle instead. So yeah, so better move. What would be a better move than queen to d1? What do you think for Adam? Because after here, Richard does capture here, forking rook, and then capturing h2 after that. So what would be a better move for Adam? What do you guys think?
On the G3 now, I guess.
Yeah, just protect the pawn, definitely, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, you know, even if you're losing, your goal is to be annoying to your opponent. Don't make the win easy, right? You got to make them work for it. You know, so many beginners, maybe especially kids more often than adults, they resign so quickly, right? They're down a couple, you know, maybe they're down a couple pawns or a bishop or a knight or something, and they're like, all right, I give up, I resign. But you should not resign. You know, you should not only because you know, you want to have your opponent prove that they can beat you, but just you want to just, you know, no, don't make it easy. You know, make them work for the win, right? You know, chess is about you know, solving problems. You know, we're solving problems on the board, so you create as many problems as you can for your opponent. I think that's how I play. Create as many. It's like your opponent's trying to walk. You know, you put stuff in the way. You put a couple Lego blocks. You know, you could stuff like that. like my kids I was doing with their stuff. All right, so let's see. So yeah, create as many problems as you can. So definitely, so you could have created more difficulty with this pawn. So he took it, and now he takes on h2 and queen g3. And now this was actually a really good move by Richard. So this king is now immobile. So now he brings the queen much closer to the king. Very good move. So now Adam plays bishop f3, and now I'm gonna move this over. So now you can see this means there's a checkmate in eight moves. So it's not looking good for Adam. All right. So now my question is, what is the best move? So Richard did not do the best move to go to checkmate, but what do you think is the strongest move here to further that the goal of checkmate? What do you guys think? So this is black to move.
Well, how about bishop takes bishop on f3?
No, actually, that helps. That helps white because now you're allowing him to bring the queen in and help to protect his king. Maybe bring the queen onto h3, right? So the idea is don't let your opponent bring more pieces into the defense, right? So yeah, in this position, what do you think?
How about queen f2?
Okay, so queen f2. What do you guys think? Good move or bad move? Or not so good move? What do you think?
That's a bad move.
Why?
I think king just takes the bishop.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
bishop just falls. Yeah. What else? Anybody else?
How about queen h4?
Yeah, queen h4. Now look at this king. This king cannot move anywhere, right? He's stuck on h1. So now queen h4 sets him up for a nice discovered attack, right? And it's very difficult to get out of that. You really can't. If he tries to do something like this, that's probably even worse. Now let's see. There's a forced checkmate. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Forced checkmate and 3 moves from here. Anybody can see it?
The bishop takes pawn.
Good. Bishop takes g3 check, right? Now, it doesn't matter if the king goes to g1 or g2. Doesn't matter. Let's say g2. So now, checkmate in 2 moves. Say again?
Queen
h2? Yeah, queen h2 check, king f1, and now?
Queen h1. Oh, no, can't do that.
No, bishop.
Yep.
Queen f2?
Yeah, queen f2 is mate, right? This is known as a queen bishop helper mate or in your face mate, right? In your face. All right, let's go back. So yeah, so this is a really nasty discovered attack here. And maybe maybe something like, because currently this square is unaccounted for, so white will be able to escape there. Let's say he does something like this. Now there's not really, I see a check. Let me see if there's a check. I wonder if there's, okay, it says mate in 3. Ah, I see. There's a mate in 3. Okay, so what do you think? The first move here? Checkmate in 3 moves.
Again, bishop to f4.
Bishop f4, king g1. Okay, mate in 2. What do you think?
Still queen h2.
No, now queen h2, and now you're allowing him to escape, right? Now, if you go check again, then
Bishop to e3.
yeah, now there's no more checks, right? I mean, there's a check here, but yeah, it's kind of hard to. All right, so go back. So yeah, from here, king g1, bishop e3 is the strongest move now.
E3.
And now king f1, and again, the queen and bishop helper mate in your face, right? So good. So yeah, this discovered attack is pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. Yeah. So that would be the best move here. So yeah, again, and that's what the computer recommends, queen h4. Okay, so let's see. Continue. Yeah, so Richard took here and queen takes. And okay, so he just decided to trade down. Still winning. For black. Black is ahead by a rook. He's ahead the exchange, and he's also ahead 3 pawns. So pretty easy win should be. All right, so pushing the pawns. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and here Adam threw in the towel, resigned. No point to continue. So yeah, this is a tough position to go forward with. I mean, black is just slowly grinding down white and removing all of his pieces. It kind of reminds me of kids when they play. You know, they think the goal is to take all your opponent's pieces, and then when they have, you know, the one king and there's like, two rooks, a bishop, and a queen, and they promote a couple of pawns to queens, and then they accidentally stalemate. It happens all the time. I see kids do that. It's so funny. They're like, look how many pieces I have, and then their opponent has only a king. It's funny. So yeah, good game, guys. Yeah. So there's a little checkmate, little tactics there. So that was pretty interesting. All right. So let's go on to the next one. Oh, any questions by that before we go on to the next one with that? Everything clear? All right. Cool.
I guess in the very beginning, there was a time where like one of the black pawns didn't take, I think. Was that on purpose, or like is there a tactic behind?
You mean this one?
Yeah. Or was it before that?
Yeah, so here, see, oh, you mean why didn't the white pawn take here?
Yeah, sorry, the white pawn to take.
Okay, so yeah, this is kind of like a reverse queen's gambit, right? Usually queen's gambit is white, d4 and c4. But in this case, it's black that's doing it, d5 and c5. So yeah, so if white takes here, does that is that a good thing? What do you guys think? What does everyone think?
Oh, because then black just pushes the e pawn.
No, you really can't do the e pawn because again, that's not protected either.
Yeah, push it to e6.
So okay, let's say your goal is to win this back. You can win this back fairly quickly. How do you do that?
Oh, queen to a5 check.
Right, queen a5 check, right? Forking king and pawn, and there's really no way he can protect the c5 pawn anymore. You can interpose with the bishop or knight c3, but either one doesn't really matter, right? It takes a pawn, and then you slowly, then with knight c6, and then black builds up strong pawn center. So the idea with luring away a center pawn, why is that desired? Why do you want to lure away your opponent's center pawns?
It's openings and exposures to either the king or the queen.
Not really exposure. It's more just occupying the center, right? If your opponent has one less center pawn, that means that you have one extra center pawn, so you have a stronger control, pretty much automatically, of the center, right? And as we said, controlling the center sometimes just means the difference between a win and a loss, right? Because superior opening, if you merge the opening with such control over the center, it's usually much easier to win and leads to easier game for you. So yeah, so that's one reason why, yeah, c5 is a good move, and taking the pawn would not be wise. Not be wise. Any other questions before we go on? All right, so let's look at the other Richard versus Adam game. So this is white is Richard and black is Adam. All right, so let's see. So d4, d4, f5. What is this opening called? Anybody can tell me? What do you guys think?
Is it your opening?
Say again?
Is it, don't you play f5 a lot, you said, or no?
Oh, actually, no. What you're thinking about is this. You're thinking about e5 and then c5.
Oh,
That's different. That's the Sicilian defense. Yeah. So when white goes d4 and black plays f5. So who played this? So Adam played this. So Adam, do you know the name of it?
The English.
Say again?
The English?
No, English would be this. C4. So
the Dutch.
Excellent. Yeah, the Dutch. Yeah, Dutch defense. And so yeah, this could be, and then there's something called the Stonewall, which is where the formation, similar to what Adam played in the last game actually, which is f5, pawn goes on e6, and then the other pawn goes on d5, and then black would have complete control over e4. Of course, you create a hole here, so white has control over e5, but that's kind of the concession you make. So that's called Stonewall. But yeah, I think this is called the Dutch defense. All right, so let's go on. Knight c3. Yeah, so again, I mean, I think I mentioned this before. This is maybe like a personal thing, but I never like blocking my c pawn. right? I think I always say that, right? So every time I see a knight like this blocking the C pawn, it just looks awkward to me. Like I really want, something like this. Something I would play is probably here, develop here, maybe push here, C4, bring the knight in behind the C pawn. Yeah, I don't like blocking the C pawn. I think the C pawn can do a great role in helping to control the center. So just a personal thing of mine. All right. Okay, so here white is choosing to put the bishop on the long diagonal, which is a good option as well. So, okay, knight f3. Okay, good. Okay, so now this is definitely weird. Why is this weird? E3. Why is that? Why do I say that looks weird to me?
Locks in the bishop.
Yeah.
Hmm?
So the bishop now has no escape, right? All these
Hmm.
pawns are on dark squares. Now this bishop is becoming endangered of being trapped, right? And lost. So you want to always make sure you have an escape square for your pieces. So if you're going to put the bishop here on f4, you got to really keep your pawn here on e2, and yeah. So you don't want to take away escape squares so easily like that if you're not forced to.
So
yeah.
would it have been better to do move to e4?
No, e4 would just lose a pawn because he's protecting, right? You're attacking once.
Yeah, right.
And then afterwards he would probably solidify. A good move would be d5, and then now this pawn is completely his and you can't really get it back. Yeah, I mean, I think much better. What do you think? Much better move than e3 here. What does everyone think?
At this point, bishop to g5.
Bishop to g5. Well, you already moved the bishop to f4, so you don't
I
want to
know,
move it
so you're
again.
wasting a move.
Yeah,
How
no,
about-
you don't have to waste a move. I mean, the bishop is okay here, exerting control over the diagonal. So it's okay. So you don't need to move the bishop just yet.
How about bishop g2?
Right. So you're already prepared with
Right.
g3. So now why don't you just continue that and then maybe castle, right? And then maybe you can move the rook over to e1 and then maybe try to push e4 all the way when you have adequate support, right? Protection. So yeah, definitely you want to be careful of boxing in your own pieces like that. E3, and let me just see here. Let me just see what the computer recommends for a move here. Computer likes h4. Okay, bishop. Okay, bishop g2 and h4. They recommend both. Okay, see, computer's undecided too. Yeah, bishop g2 it likes. All right, cool. All right, let's go on. e3, knight c6. Again, it looks awkward to me. Blocking in the c pawn. Like, let's see. For me, what would I think about playing? Maybe something like maybe c4, maybe d6 or d5. If you want the stonewall formation. I'm just curious what the computer recommends. Okay, computer recommends bringing the knight here. All right. I mean, I think the pawns coming forward would be good ideas. Also
So
bishop. Yeah, go ahead.
in that, why is my knight to what is it, c6? You can still get the bishop out. What's the problem?
You mean this bishop?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
What
I'm
is
just
it
saying.
that-
I'm just saying the problem is blocking the c pawn. I always
So
have,
what?
I just don't like that. I don't like blocking the c pawn because the c pawn I think can perform a pretty good function
Okay.
of challenging the center. So for example, let's say okay, so let's look at right here. So the computer gives this position slight advantage for black. All right, so let's look. What if I play c5? Oh, the computer doesn't like it. All right, it's interesting. Actually, no, it's about equal. All right, it's about equal. Okay, so all right, so that one, or let's say d6, another possibility. So look, still equal, right? So the idea, I think, in so much of chess and the way I play, is you want to keep your pawns fluid, right? You don't want to block your pawns. And in general, the pawns go first. Pawns are the ones that open up lines for the minor pieces and for the heavy pieces, right? So you don't really want to block your pawns as much
But
as
you didn't
possible.
have that same comment when the knight moved, the white knight from what is it? G1
here? Oh,
to,
this one?
Yeah. Why is
Oh no, this is different. No, this is different. Why? Because the F pawn is very sensitive, right? Everybody knows, right? I always talk about the delicate E1 to H4 diagonal, right? You do not want to move. Although there is an opening called, first move is F4. It's called. Anybody know what the name of that opening is? Anybody? It's called the Bird opening, named after Larry Bird, the basketball. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a chess player, last name Bird. But yeah, the Bird opening. I don't recommend it, but it is okay. It's playable. But yeah, for the most part, I don't recommend my students to open up this diagonal at all. So yeah, knight F3. I have no problem blocking the F2 pawn. Definitely not. But the C pawn, the D pawn, and the C pawn. The E pawn, D pawn, C pawn, they're the ones I think that are most valuable. Yeah. Were you gonna say something? No? Okay. All right. So is there any question with that? Does that make sense? All right, cool. All right. So yeah, pawns need to be pushed forward and not blocked, right? All right, so let's go on. So castle E3, knight C6, bishop D3. Okay, so now this is again weird. Why is bishop D3 strange?
I'm not really gaining anything. I mean, I'm good on the one diagonal, and the other diagonal is blocked by the pawn. So
which diagonal are you talking about? You mean this diagonal?
Yeah, I mean, already moving that one square didn't help with that, and it's not like I'm gaining. I mean, am I really controlling E4 by?
I mean, you are controlling E4. You're adding more support to E4, so now E4 is a possibility. But there's another reason why bishop D3 is strange to me. Anybody can tell me why does that look?
Would bishop be better to E2 there?
No. I think that also kind of look, because what's the reason you did B3? Sorry, G3.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So the bishop should have come out to G2.
Right. If you're going to do G3, then the logical next move would be to put the bishop on the long diagonal, because by doing G3, you're automatically creating weaknesses on your light squares here. So you need the bishop here to guard against the weaknesses, right? So now if you go bishop E3, D3, sorry, then now you got some weaknesses over here, right? And so yeah. So you can see Richard's pawn structure right here. They're all on dark squares. Not only is he boxing in and potentially trapping his F4 bishop, but now he's not even protecting his light squares around his king over here, which is what this light square bishop should be doing here, right? So let's just see what the computer says. Whoa, computer wants to be aggressive and push D5. All right. So what about, let's see, what about bishop G2? Okay. So still about equal. Yeah, I mean, that makes more sense to me, right? That definitely makes more sense. And now maybe you open up this diagonal, but yeah, you open up, knight up here, and then the bishop's very active. And yeah, game will go on.
When putting bishop on, like if he were doing that, but if he made it all the way into C4, would that be not good? Because then the black would fortify with D5, and then he would just.
Okay, so bishop C5. So you're saying that then black can do this?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure because I don't know if there was another way to semi-attack.
Yeah, that might be a good. Yeah, that might be a good move for black, because why? Because it gains space. You're gaining control over E4, and you're doing it with tempo, right? What does that mean with tempo again?
So your opponent has to move the piece twice.
Right. So you just move the bishop to C4, and now you do a great move, control the center, and now your opponent has to move the piece again because now it's attacked, right? So you want to be careful to not give your opponent. That's basically like giving your opponent a free move, is what that is, right? So you don't want to do that. So yeah, so maybe I mean, the computer is right. Maybe a good idea here would take advantage of that there's no pawn on D5 and just push now. And now white's being pretty annoying now, right? Because now white's got beautiful scope right here, right? Very nice scope. Maybe take here, and now white will be threatening taking the pawn on C7, right? Both the knight and the bishop are coming down on C7. So yeah, and then if he takes here, then you take back now with check, right? Now the king goes over, and now maybe maybe white could probably castle queen side, and then just kind of launch into an attack on the king side, something like that. All
Or
right.
even moving out the bishop to like F4 to fortify the queen and then have the queen move in.
Move the bishop
Oh, I
to.
guess no, never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
Forgot
Oh, you meant here C4, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's not really a threat, but yeah. I mean, it's still a good move to strengthen the center. You know. All right. So yeah, that's a possibility. So, all right. So let's see what happened next. All right. So he went bishop D3.
So,
All right, so-
I don't
yeah.
remember, and I think I might have been worried about knight to E4.
Okay. No, that is a good.
And-
That is a good
And
thing to think
so
about.
I might have thought that the bishop to D3 would block that.
Okay. All right. That's a good thing to think about. But you should also realize how weak this diagonal is, right? With your
Right.
bishop not on G2, and now it looks like Adam wants to put his bishop on B7, which would be even more dangerous to your rook and to this knight.
Mhm.
So yeah. So so just realize that this kind of setup, when you do either G3 or B3, best probably thing is usually to put the bishop on a long diagonal like that. All right, and yeah, the bishop is very happy on a long diagonal. All right, so knight B5, good, targeting the C7 pawn. All right, so he blocks. Okay. All right. Yeah, this bishop is just dangerously close to being trapped. Yeah, I get. I'm feeling like claustrophobic looking at this bishop, right here, you know. So yeah, it's like maybe I've been playing chess for so long, like I just feel like I look at this bishop and I'm like, this guy he only has one escape square right here, G5. That's the only safe square. So H6 would immediately remove that, and now there's like red flag danger right here for this bishop. So yeah, it's like I feel it like viscerally in my body when I see a piece that has no escape squares. All right, so H3, A6, knight C3. Okay. All right. Okay, another possibility here. Because now that the bishop is on the long diagonal, now this rook is kind of a little bit in danger, right? A little bit. So not good. And there's no bishop here to counteract the bishop on B7. So I'm thinking something like D5 is a nice move, because now this pawn on E6 is the only thing protecting it, right? So you do a nice little jab like this, and if he takes with the pawn, you just take back with the other bishop, and now this bishop has beautiful scope, and you're about ready to recapture the pawn that way, or you can even come on bishop E6 and capture it that way. So that's nice. So let's see what the computer recommends. Computer recommends castling. All right, 8-3. Yeah, see, the computer is very nervous about this rook as well. You see, so for the moment, the computer says move your rook, right? Because this bishop is lining up directly with the rook, so there might be some tricks. Yeah, see, the computer doesn't like that the rook is on the same diagonal, So this is definitely something that you should keep in mind, when you have your pieces on the same diagonal as bishops, or files, has same files as rooks or ranks too. All right, so let's continue. Let's go back. Okay, queen there. All right. Ooh, I don't know. That's just now you're just opening up the rook completely there. I mean, I know you're attacking here. I mean, I would take a moment right here. Again, Richard, you're not castling, right? You see, this seems to be a pattern with you. So everybody, what do you guys think? What does everyone think? Which side do you think Richard would be safer to castle? Which side?
Queen side.
Queen side. What does everyone else think? You agree with that? Queen side?
No,
Yeah.
I like king side better because your minor pieces are on the king side, and he's got his bishop and a knight on the queen side already. Pawns are pushing down.
Okay.
I don't like castling queen side.
So Eugene, you said queen side?
No, I said I don't like castling.
So you don't like?
side.
Oh, so you
I'd
want king
rather
side?
castle
That's
king
interesting.
side.
All right, what do you think? I heard Genevieve, you were saying something.
Yeah, I think king side too.
king side. Okay, so personally, I would. Anybody else want to chime in? What do you guys
But-
think?
I
Well,
would go
given-
queen side.
My instinct says queen.
Yeah, given
Okay.
the weakness of that diagonal now, I'm thinking queen side, get away from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Put a
I
rook
think,
between the king and that weak side.
Yeah, I would definitely. I like queen side also because of this bishop. This bishop is seeming to be like a beast waiting to be, unleashed. So, I would not want to. I would not want to castle in the line of fire. Have my king almost in the line of fire with this bishop. So yeah, definitely. I think queen side would be safer. Let's see what the computer recommends. Computer doesn't even recommend castling. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see what if he did queen side. All right. So here it says, okay, so the computer didn't like it. So it's giving black more advantage. All right. Let's look at the other one. King side. Let's see. All right. Same thing. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. All right. So slight better for king side, but okay. All right. So let's continue. All right. So knight g5. So threatening e6 fork once again. And Adam says, not this time. Queen d7. I fell for it once already. All right, so e4. Yeah, so now we can see that automatically drops the d pawn, right? So yeah, there's one thing that Evan talks about a lot is like when you move, like do a quick blunder check, which means like you do a quick scan of the position, like is my move like automatically dropping pieces, and this e4 move would automatically drop this e4 pawn, simultaneously attacking the queen. Okay, so yeah, all right, so now look at it gives Adam an immense advantage here. So let's see, so it wants Adam to take here. So let's say once he takes, then the queen comes up, and now what would be a strong move here? Actually, the computer just gave it.
Take
Yeah.
the pawn. No.
Yeah. Then now you solidify this knight here, push the pawn, and now guess what? What just happened to this bishop?
Bye bye.
Yeah, but the better move is
the worst
knight
nightmare came
takes-
true.
Knight takes c2 because it forks the king, the queen, the rook.
Yeah. So for the moment, c2 is protected. But yeah, that is a threat, possible threat.
As we shall see.
I know.
It's coming.
Eugene is foreshadowing the future here. All right, let's see. So here, I think Adam did not take immediately. Oh, he did take immediately. Okay, good. All right, so takes. All right. Oh, and he did do e5. Ooh, nice. Excellent. So now, Richard throws in a check. Bishop c4, king h8, knight f7 check. So, Richard, I guess you just missed that. You missed this fork, right?
Well, I became obsessed with trying to save the bishop on f4.
Oh.
So that became my sole focus. So I
Oh my
forgot that the bishop on d3 was keeping his knight from going to c2 and forking the queen and the king.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot. Right.
I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, wait, I can get my bishop out of the fix that I'm in.
Oh, so you went to check so that you move your bishop to maybe here, g5?
Yeah. Yes.
I see.
But meanwhile,
yeah, logical train of thought, but unfortunately it falls to a very ugly triple family royal fork. Wow. So yeah. Say again?
Is that what it's called? A royal fork?
Yeah. When the knight forks a king and queen, it's called a royal fork or a family fork. Yeah. But this is even specialer. This is even more special. This is a triple fork. Woo. Ouch. All right. So yeah. So Adam took. Very good. Take. Yeah, because if he didn't take, what would be the best move? Let's see if you guys can figure this out. What would be the best move here if Adam didn't take?
Knight to e5 and
Yep. Knight e5, discovered check, winning the queen. Right? Very nice. Discovered checks are very powerful. So you must do your darndest to avoid them. So yeah, he was correct in removing the knight. and then Richard forgets about the c2 pawn, and so probably the best move here for Richard is not to take back this this rook. Probably best would probably be castle, something like that right now, and now he's pretty safe.
Yeah.
But then, well, he does lose this, but still you get the knight. So I mean, let's see what's the material here. So white is down a bishop only. So yeah. Oh, actually, no, you know what? This, and then black saves a bishop. Yeah. So yeah. So down a bishop. All right. So let's go back. So let me just see, what does the computer recommend? I'm curious. Let's see. Yeah, computer recommends queenside castling here. All right, cool. Yeah, and the other advantage of queenside castling, which kingside doesn't have, is this rook automatically becomes activated, right? On the d file is usually either half open or open, right? In this case, it's half open, right? One pawn is here. And so, but not the same when you castle kingside. Usually you have to spend an extra move to activate your rook, either e file or d file. So kind of saves you a move, which is nice. All right. So takes, and ouch, triple family fork. Whew. All right, so you must have felt that like in your gut, Richard. when you checked your phone, you're like, oh my goodness, what did I do? I should have let him take the bishop. All right, so take the queen, and yeah, this is demoralizing when you're losing by queen.
Oh, it just goes on.
And then I tell you, don't resign and make it difficult for your opponent. You're like, but how can I make it difficult? I have no more pieces left to make it difficult. Oh my goodness. So now black is winning.
Yeah, so just go back on that one. I mean, again, I just totally missed that when black took the black takes c3, right?
Yeah.
And then what do? I forget. Okay.
So maybe.
But now I should have moved the rook.
Yeah, you should. Maybe instead of recapturing the knight, maybe moving the rook, because your goal, you're down material, heavy material, so you want to keep as many pieces on the board as possible.
Yeah. So getting the knight was.
Yeah, not
wasn't
a good idea.
I mean, it's just that I didn't see the threat from the bishop. To tell you the truth.
Right.
So.
Right. And sometimes when chess players are playing, and then you lose a piece or some material, you get a little bit demoralized, right? You get like psychologically defeated.
Stop laughing, Adam. Stop laughing.
and then everything just falls apart like a house of cards. Things just collapse, and it appears this house of cards has collapsed here. So yeah, rook f8, and then saves his bishop. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to go on. You're like, why am I even going on? So yeah, resign happens here. All right, so let's go back and let's see, where do you think the turning point happened? So yeah, well, actually, let me ask you guys, what do you guys think? Where do you think the turning point occurred? Where could Richard have gone better? What are some moments?
I think, like you said before, the bishop should have gone to g2 and then castle on the king side right away.
Right. Yeah. Bishop g2, castle, and you got a beautiful position there, right? And then maybe work to go rook e1, and then you go try to get in e4, and then so something like that. The game goes on, right? And also another thing is, do not try to avoid this, right? Boxing in your own piece and restricting its escape. Do not do that as much as possible. Your pieces want scope. And so I mean, Adam's pawns are really nice. I like this kind of pawns. I mean, the only thing is he's blocking the c pawn, but the other pawns are pretty good, so I like it. Yeah, this is really a beautiful diagonal for the bishop to be on. Like, this is really ideal. Like, all these pawns are on dark squares, and the bishop is ready to control the entire diagonal, right? This bishop is not too active, but it can be active pretty quick. So it's not a lost cause. You could go maybe d5 and then try to trade this bishop away for this bishop, something like that. But yeah, these fianchetto bishops can be pretty powerful.
So I don't understand when you say all the pawns are on dark squares. In one case, you say that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the other case, it's okay or it's a good thing. What?
Well, yeah,
so
yeah.
what's
in this
the
case,
difference?
yeah. Well, I mean, of course, it depends on every game. And in this pawn structure that we have here, so this bishop cannot go on to e5, right? And it only has this escape square on g5, and so that really leads this position to be not ideal because the bishop has no escape squares, right? So you know how I talk about the getting your bishop outside the pawn chain, right, with the London system type setup, but then at the same time, I don't say push the pawn on g3, right? I say push the pawn on h3 so that your bishop can escape back to h2, and it can be nice and safe and wield his control over the entire diagonal safely, right? Bishops are very long range pieces, so they don't even always need to be in the center. I mean, it's probably best if they're in the center, but they don't need to be. So yeah, be careful with that with your bishops. You know, always maintain escape squares. Very important. And then the other, yeah, I think in this game we could say one error was the hesitancy to castle. I think here castling queenside would have definitely solved a lot of your problems, right? Because this rook, like the whole game, this rook and this rook didn't play any role whatsoever, right? So at least if you were to castle, now this rook is actually perhaps might play a role something in opening up the d file, right? So those rooks were basically idle the entire game, you know. And yeah, and here, you know, it's not so bad to delay castling, but then so now e4 is basically stating your intentions, white stating the intentions that you want to open up the center and start activity, movement, right? But it's not a good idea to do that if your king is not castled, right? That is unwise to do that. So do not recommend it. And this game, I think bared that lesson out with this nasty fork here. Yeah. So yeah. Any other comments, questions, observations? What do you guys think of these two games? Anything stand out to you?
Well, the missed mate on the first game could have spared myself
right,
a few extra moves. That was interesting. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah. I mean, his king was, you know, when you have your opponent's king on the corner square, and they have no other escape squares, mate is probably close by. Probably it's a good general, you know, rule of thumb.
What kind of game was this, Richard?
It was a correspondence game.
Correspondence game?
Yeah, these are all correspondence games. So have most of you started games with each other?
No, Richard and I are playing a game, but that's the only person I have.
Yeah. And
I think, Adam, we should play another game.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's 1-1 so far, right?
Yes.
yeah, and if you guys, I'd be happy to play with you guys as well. You know, challenge
Yep.
me, and
We'll
it
do
would
that.
be fun. So we could definitely get a game going. Got no
Heard
problem
that
with that.
before about the C pawn and putting the knight in front. I remember it was like a John Bartholomew video. Like he called it a happy marriage if the if the pawn was in front of the knight, but if it was behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean if the hold on, let me go back.
But I have a hard time remembering that. Like,
so you mean if the pawn was on c4 and then you move the knight on c3?
yeah, he calls that a happy marriage, but but yeah, that's in.
Is that an oxymoron? A happy marriage? No.
But his videos
Where's your wife?
My wife's in the next room. I'll tell her about it.
Have her come in. I'll give her. I'll tell her.
He's got these pretty good videos about climbing the rating ladders and about.
That's actually an interesting way to describe it. Happy marriage. I like that because I feel really comfortable if, you know, again, that you know, illustrates my point of wanting to push your C pawn and, you know, not wanting to block your C pawn and D pawn, you know, of course, not the E or D pawn, but the C pawn also plays a really good role in controlling the center.
So I have a really hard time applying that and using that, but
keep playing, you know, practice definitely. You
Is
know,
there ever a time like you do want to put the knight in front of the c-pawn, or is that just a big no-no?
I don't think I ever do that. I just
Okay.
don't. You know, I don't like it. I feel it in my bones. You know, just don't like it.
He spends like 10 minutes on that on one of his climbing the rating ladder videos, which are, I would recommend those to anybody. Those are great.
Can you wait, that's
John Bartholomew.
John Bartholomew. Can you email everyone those videos? That'd be
Or the
Sure.
link.
or that video.
Yeah.
Sure.
That would
I
be
don't know how
great.
to email everyone, but I would
Or
highly
you can
recommend it.
email it to me and I'll email it to
Okay,
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, he's very personable. He plays people at each rating level
Mm.
and just shows typical mistakes. Like I really learned from him, like not having loose pieces and really good
Cool.
videos. But
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of great YouTube chess YouTube players out there, and you know, not all you know, top master players like grandmaster players are good teachers. Like I don't know if some of you watch some of these streams of these grandmasters, like 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 the only thing that they say when they're playing, they're like, I think I'm gonna do this. And then I'm gonna do this. and
That doesn't help,
after
yeah.
at the end they're like, okay, now I win. But what did you learn from that? By him saying, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. So yeah, so it's I think it's a different talent when some players are able to explain their thought
Chess does
process.
have a lot of trash talk, doesn't it?
Say again?
Chess does have a lot of trash talk in it.
Yes,
I know.
definitely does. Yeah, in person. Yeah, there's also some funny YouTube channels. One of them is called Coffee Chess. I don't know if anybody ever seen those videos, and it's like these players really trash talking each other, and it's not even adults only. It's like there's even like little girls and boys like 9, 10 years old. They're trash talking each other. It's just funny. So. Chess is I think there's a quote, forget who said it, chess is not for the timid of heart. So gotta have tough skin for chess, right?
Richard, you having a happy birthday?
Yeah,
Oh, is it your birthday, Richard?
Yes,
it is.
birthday.
Awesome.
And it
Happy-
was Monty's wife's birthday yesterday. Any other August birthdays?
my daughter. Oh, go ahead, Genevieve.
I just said happy birthday.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Yeah, my daughter is August 19th, so she's gonna be 9.
My dog just told me it's time for us to eat. I'm going to say goodbye. Good night, everybody.
Yes. We gotta go. So good seeing everyone. So again, send me your games and we'll analyze them in the next class. All right.
Awesome.
So great
Thank
seeing
you.
everyone.
That was really good. Good, very
Thank
helpful.
you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye bye.